understand why these objectives were set. And I am of the firm conviction that we will be able to achieve these objectives. Another objective of this program is also provide encourage dialogue between stakeholders to strengthen Africa's cyber workforce and policy landscape. This is basically one of the reasons why we did the introductions, so that you know the kind of people in the industry, you can connect, socialize, and together we shape the cybersecurity front as well as help secure Africa's digital front. And so your guesses are as good as mine. Maybe you are hoping. So who are on this call? Who are the esteemed speakers and guests we're going to have the panel discussion with? Let me start by introducing these important individuals. I mean, all of us here are equally important as well, but for the purposes of the panel discussions, we will be experiencing or hearing from some experts in the industry. And so if I introduce you, please, you can give us just a short note, a word or two for us to feel that you are on the call and for us to hear your voice as well. So I have digital skills consultant all the way in Germany, digital skills consultant all the way from Germany. And she is in the person of Anna Ackerman. And she is an independent consultant working towards a safer cyberspace for all. Coming from a background in digital rights advocacy, she's now using design thinking and innovation to fight online gender-based violence. And since starting her career, she reinvented herself several times and is now helping other women find their way into cyber security. And so if you're a woman here, you should know that Anna Ackerman is here to help you find your way to cyber security. And so with digital applause, help me welcome onto this conversation, Anna Ackerman. Great. I'm seeing the applause.
Thank you, Samuel.
Great. A few words from you, even before I introduce the rest of the people. A few words from you.
Thank you so much. It's wonderful to be here and connect with some known faces again and meet new people. Samuel, I think you touched upon most of the relevant aspects. What I really want to stress is I personally come from a non-technical background, and for the longest time, I thought the technical sphere is not for me. But then I was lucky to have a mentor that showed me the way of how to reinvent myself and believe in myself and shift my career, focus on cybersecurity. And that's why I'm always very passionate about hopefully being able to give back a little bit, and looking forward to the discussion and your questions. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Let's give a digital applause to Anna Ackerman. Welcome, Anna Ackerman. And let me move on to introduce another esteemed panelist. And she is a security awareness consultant all the way from South Africa. She is a security awareness consultant with over 2 decades of experience in IT industry. Her journey started in IT support, where she learned firsthand how people interact with technology and how small mistakes, can create big risk. And over time, that passion for helping people to learn how to use technology safely evolved into a career focused on building cyber-aware cultures, especially in Africa. And she led the design and rollout of large-scale cyber awareness program across South Africa, the UK, and the US. This then extended to interactive experiences like cyber escape rooms, workshops, and leadership talks. Today, her passion is about making cybersecurity relatable, practical, and human. Ladies and gentlemen, help me welcome onto this call, Yolanda Cornelius. Great. Madam Yolanda, please introduce yourself briefly to us, a few words.
Thank you so much, Samuel. Good afternoon, everybody, and thank you so much for having me on this platform. As Anna said, yes, you cannot be in cyber and not be able to reinvent yourself, because the industry changes literally every day, every minute. We have to tuck and roll all the time, and it's crucial that you know how to do that. So you've got to reinvent yourself all the time. My signature logo is the butterfly, and it's because it reinvents. So it's important for us to know how to do that. My big passion at the moment is making cyber awareness and online safety a language that we can speak to everybody, not just our corporate buddies and those in offices, but to the man on the street, to the lady on the street, to the gogo that's sitting somewhere. You know, we need to be able to have those real conversations. But yes, thank you. I'm not going to get ahead of myself. Thank you so much. We'll unpack it. And I hope that we have a lot of young people on the group on the call this afternoon, because there's a lot of work for all of us.
Thank you so much, Yolanda Cornelius, for your comment. And as you all have stated, we believe that it's going to be a very interesting, conversation as we seek to secure digital Africa. Quickly, let me move on to introduce our next esteemed panelist. And he is a cybersecurity analyst in Ghana. You remember one of the people who have joined this call mentioned that he aspires to be a cyber security analyst, and I'm sure he will connect with this person I'm about introducing, as well as other esteemed panelists after the meeting. And so quickly, he is a highly skilled and results-driven cybersecurity analyst with over 4 years of hands-on experience in security operations centers, that is SOC, incident response, threat detection, and digital forensics. He demonstrates deep technical expertise in identifying, analyzing, and mitigating cybersecurity threats across diverse environments with a strong understanding of adversary tactics, techniques, and procedures, that is TTPS, aligned with Mater attack, that is MITRE, ATT, and CK. With a digital applause, please help me welcome Prince Carl Tufor Frimpong. Hello, sir. Good afternoon, and a few words or comments from you.
Yes, good afternoon to you, Samuel. Good afternoon, everyone. I'm excited to be here, and then I'm really passionate about cybersecurity. So I want to share. I'm always eager to share my knowledge, my experiences, to up and coming ones and professional alike, just to share ideas and collaborate as well. I also come from a non-technical background. I didn't study computer science in school, so I did more of accounting and finance. But along the line, I pivoted into cybersecurity because I think I have strong passion for this field. So over the years, that's what I've been doing, and I'm excited to be here one more time, and hoping to share and learn a lot from you all as well. Thank you, Samuel.
Thank you so much, Prince Tufor Frimpong, for your kind words as well, and to join the conversation as well. But unfortunately, he is not on the call yet, but he'll be joining shortly in a minute or two. But let me do an introduction so that when he comes, I will acknowledge his presence as well. And he is a lecturer, Department of Computer Science and Information Technology, University of Cape Coast here in Ghana. And he is a lecturer at the Department of Computer Science and Information Technology, Cape Coast, as I indicated. He's specializing in cybersecurity and cryptography. His passion for advancing digital security and innovation in Africa earned him the Best Paper Award at the International IEEE Cybersecurity and Cryptography Conference held in Japan in April this year, 2025. He is in the person of Dr. Paul K. Ahen Jr. Let's give him digital, applause as well. Thank you. Thank you so much for your cooperation, ladies and gentlemen. I sincerely appreciate that. And so he'll be joining the call in a minute or two, and we'll get few comments from him as well. So our panelists have been introduced, and so we cannot wait to kickstart the conversation. And so let's all get ready. Drum rolling. Let's begin the conversation. And so, ladies and gentlemen, we are zooming straight into the panel discussion, where we'll get to discuss issues that are of major concern, issues on how we can advance as a continent in terms of our cyberspace and how we can protect our data and all other things that has got to do with securing digital Africa. And that is the hashtag secure digital Africa. And on social media, you can tag Africa Center for Digital Transformation as well. So let's begin. And I would want to start the conversation with Madam Anna Ackerman. Madam Anna Ackerman, are you here?
Yes, I am.
Right. I am pretty sure in your line of work, right, you have had engagement with lots of young people who are trying to enter the cybersecurity space in Africa. We want to find out, what are the biggest skill gaps you see among these people who want to join, cybersecurity space to help secure the digital Africa we're all looking for?
So let me firstly say, I think the challenges that I see are globally. So to the very specific challenges on Africa, I think we will discuss a lot, but on that sense, it's the interdisciplinarity. So we see more and more people become network analysts or become maybe ethical hackers, right? But are police forces equipped to respond to an online scam being reported, or are teachers apt to talk to the kids in the school about what maybe a deepfake is, or are community leaders able to respond to cases of online violence or maybe a scam? Or do you know, how would you guide your mother who might lose her money because of an online scam? So when it's about the technical skills, to be honest, in Africa, I see a lot of young people being extremely proactive in teaching themselves how to the relevant technical skills, engaging in communities. It's really wonderful what's happening. Yes, for example, this event right now, it really brings me hope. But in that sense, yes, it's the interdisciplinarity and also being able to understand how cybersecurity relates to maybe different departments within a company, to different parts of society.
Great. That is an interesting perspective there. Is Prof in yet? I wanted to find out from Prof, with these particular gaps, right? How do we train university students to fill these gaps? But let me quickly go to Prince Carl Tufor from Paul. Prince, can you hear me?
Yes, Samuel, I can hear you.
That's right. So moving on with the point Anna Hackman has made, how can universities better prepare young people with the practical skills needed for today's cybersecurity job market?
I think one of the ways that universities can address this gap is incorporating hands-on training or hands-on lab work, and then real life or real world projects into our curriculums in our schools. So for example, the curriculum should demonstrate to students, not to demonstrate alone, but to practically engage them into how probably they can analyze network traffic, or how they can secure systems, how they can control cyber attacks in a in a simulated environment, right? So doing these things can equip students, or can equip graduates to be able to acquire some level of real world experiences that we actually deal with in the field. Another way is also by partnering with industries to provide mentorship programs as well, where they can expose students to some of the tools that we use in the field, and some of the workflows and the processes that cybersecurity ensures, right? So by incorporating these things in our curriculum, I believe that is going to address the gap of the skilled gap, or is going to address the need of training graduates with training graduates and equipping them with the right skill, and then the relevant needed skills that they need, just so that when they come out from school, they can be able to pretty much easily integrate into the workforce. Additionally, we can also focus, our curriculum can also focus on more problem solving, right? In different or diverse areas of the cybersecurity curriculums, right? So we can talk about threat modeling, risk assessment, security operations, and all the different fields that we have within the cybersecurity field. So once we just focus on some of these things, we incorporate them in the curriculum, I believe that is going to be meaningful, and the student or the graduate will be able to acquire certain skills, not just theoretical knowledge, but skills that they can actually implement or they can actually use when they come out from school. So these are some of the ways that I think we can be able to help our young people who are in the universities to gain practical skills that are needed for the job market after school.
Really interesting point there. And so, Madam Yolanda Cornelius, so Prince Tufo has stated that we need to inculcate cybersecurity in our education curriculum. I mean, especially the practical aspect of it. But the question really is, are many young people in Africa ready for that? Are they interested in issues of cybersecurity as a career path?
You know what, Samuel, the nice question is that I actually have an answer for you. So I had the privilege of sitting with a group of school leavers maybe 2 weeks back, and one of them asked me, can I become a hacker? And my answer was absolutely yes. So and I love, what I love about cyber in terms of career development is that you don't have to be a technical person. Yes, I've spent over 20 years in the IT industry, but you don't have to be technical in order for you to be in cyber. And this is what it's so cool about it. There's technical, there's legal, there's financial, there's we've just gone through October Wellness Month. There's emotional cyber wellness that we have as career development options. So the nice thing about cyber is that you can literally have any strong skill set, any strong personality, and you can slot yourself in exactly where the need fits. And it's because it's an emerging, very much an emerging environment, especially in South Africa. That means that everywhere is a big need for you. So if you're thinking of law enforcement, there's a big need. We're now looking at cyber first responders. There's a massive need. So absolutely everywhere. And yes, unfortunately, our kids at schools don't have enough information to go on. I mean, if they're asking questions like, can I be a hacker? It just means that our curriculums don't say, you know what, here's a career option. We have the universities coming out to the high schools and giving our high school students, we're still pushing them into IT, we're pushing them into medicine and legal, but obviously, you know, we can pull them back and pull them into cyber from all of those spaces. So it's pretty cool.
Wow, really interesting point there, Yolanda. Thank you for that. And let me go back to Prince Tufo. But you indicated that you are not from a technical, background, right?
Absolutely.
So now, if someone is on this call right now, the person is also not from a technical background, the person needs an inspiration. What inspired you?
I think it has been a journey, not an easy one, especially not coming from a computer science background. Just like Yolanda mentioned about transformation, or there's it's sort of like you go through some process, right? It's been a journey for me, because and an exciting one. There's been some challenges along the line, but I think that the passion outweighs, and your desire to succeed outweighs whatever barrier or whatever fear you may have. So for me, what inspired me is to pretty much do something that I wanted to, something that I love to do for the first time in my life, right? So I found myself in an environment working with IT people, and then they introduced me to the field of IT. So I was just, sort of all over the place trying to learn, trying to understand what this means and all that. And I was fortunate enough to have one of my colleagues sort of hold my hands and then tell me to, hey, learn about networking, learn about basic computers. And it just started from there. And I didn't get so much of him because he was that busy at the time. So I had to just take it upon myself to learn some of the things on my own by self-studying and taking up some courses here and there, and also signing up for classes just to make sure that I get a hang of it. Initially, it was so confusing for me because it is an emerging thing in our country. So not many people understood what exactly was happening or what I even wanted to do. So it was much of a struggle for me trying to even settle on which part of the field I want to get in. Because when I was starting out, all I know was just hacking, right? So I just wanted to be a hacker, but with time, I realized that I'm much more geared towards different fields aside hacking. So I don't do much of hacking now. I do more security operations, incident response, digital forensics, and whatnot. So my journey has been one that has its own challenges. But then I think the benefit outweighs all the challenges if you are dedicated, if you are going to be committed, if you are going to show passion and zeal for this. I think that everybody, no matter your background, you can always transition into this field, whether you're from finance, from law, from medicine. It's a career, it's a field that accommodates each and every one, regardless of your background. So don't be scared if you are here and you want to get into this field, you seem confused about it. Don't be scared, just take your time. It's a field that accommodates everyone. And I believe that each and everyone has a place in this field. Yeah, so that's pretty much how it all started for me. Yeah.
Really interesting and so relatable. Because I mean, as a young individual during the COVID era, because of the shutdown, we're all online mostly. And I used to watch movies where I'll see hackers sitting behind machines, and so all I wanted to be was a hacker as well. But I mean, so I share in the experience you are given, and so it means that I also changed my mind, and one day maybe I'll also be a cyber security analyst. Thank you so much for your point. Let me go to Anna Ackman. So now we've seen that people must be motivated to get into the field, right? Institutions, or we need to have institutionalization in our education sector with a curriculum, conversation, and all of that. So what role does mentorship also play? Because you might want to start all right, but if you don't have the right advice, if you don't have the people to guide you on even where to start from, because sometimes you're like, oh, I want to learn this. You start along the way, then you want to try a different thing. You want to try, So how does mentorship, come to play in this whole conversation?
So I think the role of mentorship cannot be overstated, and we've just heard it from you, Prince, right? Without a colleague taking you by the hand, you wouldn't be here with us today. And it's the same for me. Without my mentor back then, who showed me that cybersecurity is a field I can get into, I also wouldn't be here today. And with cybersecurity, it's often about confidence, because also in films it's being portrayed as these very super smart hackers who started coding when they're 5 years old, and you might think, oh, but that's not me, so I don't have a place in this. And this is especially true for women, unfortunately. Often it's maybe self-doubt, or also the families. When I was in school, I believed that math is not for girls, it's only for boys. And also it took a teacher who told me, Anna, you can do math, you can go into IT. So institutions that provide these mentorships program, or maybe you reaching out to a colleague and also taking them by the hand, is maybe something that will impact the life of a person forever, right? Also giving the opportunity, we've also heard this before, to try out practical projects. So maybe you have a colleague and you can maybe work on a small project together and try yourself out. And I would say maybe fail forward. So you might not always take the
Right.
best decision,
Right.
right? You will make
Sure.
mistakes,
Sure. Feel forward.
but have fun doing it.
Wow. Thank you. Thank you so much. I mean, it's been an interesting conversation so far, and I'm pretty sure the people who are on here have so many questions for you, aside the one that I've been asking you. And in due course, we'll give them the opportunity to also do that. But let me go to Madam Yolanda Cornelius. So now, at this point, what we really want to know is that what creative learning approaches, right, like workshops or simulation, have you in particular found to be effective for inspiring, safer online behavior? I mean, aside the fact that we want to get into the cybersecurity space and all of that, what learning approaches and workshops or simulations have you found effective to inspire safer online behavior?
Okay, so Samuel, what you've just done is you've opened the door for me to advertise like what I'm doing. Okay, so because that is basically what I do. So one of the things that I'm really passionate about is running the escape rooms. And the nice thing with the escape rooms is that it gives people a hands-on opportunity, with not with their tech, but with mine, to play and see how we can hack into something or break out of something. And there's different scenarios with the escape rooms. And what I found is people really love getting able to play on somebody else's device. I don't know why it's really nice that people love that, but they do. So the escape rooms have become a fun way to teach people simple concepts like don't overshare on social media, or that your password should not be written down. And as cybersecurity professionals, we've got a whole list of things that we'd love people to know how to do. But obviously you can't say, if you say to someone, please change your password, you know what, it's actually not going to work. You need to show them how easy it is for somebody else to break into their stuff. And we give them that opportunity by breaking into my stuff. So they love that. And that helps, that teaches people. When I speak to my school leavers, I play games with them, charades games, where they need to think up why they're going to be hackers and that sort of thing. So it is definitely you can't say, give people instruction and say, this is what you need to do. You need to do better on social media. This is how you're going to do it. You need to give them the opportunity to see how easy it is for somebody to break into their stuff, and what the fallout would look like. Because if you see your details up on the screen, it scares the crap out of you every single time. Pardon my French. And that is how people learn. They see things up there and they know, oh my goodness, everybody can see my things, I need to lock it down. Everybody can see my password, I need to lock it down. And I bet you, when people leave those sessions, they go and change their passwords. It's just how it is. So best way to teach is always gamification. It works every single time. And if you don't want to overwhelm anybody, then, because different age groups learn with different means of learning. I find that the older citizens enjoy having a simple talk to, and me showing them on the devices what they need to do better. But yes, one needs to walk into the room, read the room, and then go from there. So yeah.
Right.
Mm, right, right. So, Anna, what do you think? What do you think? What are some of the ways that we can actually, inspire, safer online behavior? I mean, aside the fact that we want to get into the cybersecurity space and all of that, what learning approaches and workshops or simulations have you found to be effective for inspiring, safer online behavior? Yes, Anna, you with your background, you've noticed that you are also particular in helping women, especially, right? I mean, you help all youth, but especially women. So, building on the point Yolanda just made, how can training programs and institutions, help women? I mean, you are doing it. So, how can other institutions and individuals also help women, gain practical, job-ready cybersecurity experience?
Yeah, thank you for this question. It's a very, very relevant one. So, from my experience, it helps a lot to offer programs that are especially or only targeted at women. I know sometimes it seems maybe a bit exclusive, but it creates a safe space. It creates a safe space where women can maybe share their doubts. They maybe dare to say, sorry, I don't understand that, instead of thinking they need to show how much they know and not show any weaknesses in that sense, but rather form a community where we can learn together. And I see this also, Yolanda, what you mentioned, right? In trainings where you teach about digital safety, there's always these moments of, oh, I didn't know. And it's a bit embarrassing. But it's important, especially for institutions, to allow for this, and now I'm repeating myself, for these moments to fail forward, because cybersecurity, every day, everything is changing so much, especially now with AI, and no one has the perfect answer. But what institutions can and should really do these days is get people together, learn with each other. Of course, everybody can pull up a YouTube video maybe and learn about hacking or coding, but together it's always, and especially for women, it's always much more effectful to then also in the end keep being connected, right? So the training that I was part in from the Africa Center Digital Transformation, it really created a community where we still have a WhatsApp group going where women share different opportunities. Yolanda, I know you're also there. I see you. So that's just lovely.
Great, indeed. If you heard Anna Ackerman, it's important to stay connected. And so I believe there will be lots of connections after this, engagement. Right. I understand that Dr. Paul K. Ahin has joined the call. And so, Doc, you're welcome.
Thank you, sir.
Interesting. So, Doc, we've been building on the conversation basically about cybersecurity awareness, about how young people can get into the space and all of that. Now that you've joined, we want to find out, right, what role can universities play to better prepare young people? Because as part of the conversation, I mean, the panelists have mentioned that we need to have a curriculum in the various schools that is practical to get these young people into the cybersecurity space. And so for you, who as a doctor, a senior lecturer as well, and all, how can universities better prepare young people with these practical skills needed for today's cybersecurity job market?
All right, thank you so much. Forgive me for being late. And I greet you all too and all our listeners. As the question was rightly put, universities, of course, tertiary institutions should be the central point for training people in the field of cybersecurity before any other thing will come in. Just like you rightly said, my colleagues have already put up. One thing I would also like to emphasize here is that cybersecurity should be considered a general course in tertiary institutions. Now, currently, certain institutions in Africa have adopted a compulsory course in the first year of schooling. That is to say, when you come to school in the very first year, it's compulsory for you to undertake an AI course. It's compulsory. It's a general program. So whether you are in the physical sciences, whether you are in the social sciences, or whether you are in the arts, you're supposed to take a course in AI in the first year of your program in the tertiary institution. So I think if we should begin to adapt this skill of introducing cybersecurity as a compulsory course for every single student in this in the tertiary institution, I think, to be helpful. Now, I'm saying this because cybersecurity as a very current trend of technology is not just for the IT expert, it's not just for computer scientists, and it's not just for cybersecurity expert. No, but it's everyone's business. Whether you're a music student, you're a musician, whether you're a banker, whether you are an agriculturist, or wherever you find yourself, it is your business. It's a business for every individual person. So we should not concentrate only on training some particular group of people. Of course, the training which will be given to the other group of people may not be as intensive as the one studying maybe cybersecurity as a profession. But at least for me to be able to know, maybe if I'm working in the banking hall, if I should be able to see any unusual activity on the computer, on the system, which I would need to report, I should be able to do that. Those basic skills should be there. So I think it's very, very important. And next to, we can incorporate some of these professional certificates in cybersecurity within our program of study in university. I know in some places, in some institutions in Africa, by the time you are through with a business program like BCom or BBA, by the time you are through with it, you would have been already fully qualified or even written a chartered accountancy certification course. And so you'll be having the certificates already. And in our field, I think in the field of cybersecurity, looking at the way things are developing, it will be very important that those in academia link up with what is happening in the industry. And this will be effective when students are also trained to work in the industry or trained beyond the theoretical aspect and then giving a highly practical hands-on staffs in there. And I think that can be gained from the professional certification that exists, like the CEH, the CCNA, the CISSP, and the others. So whilst you are doing a program at the university, you may be doing a BSc Computer Science, a BSc IT, a BS Cybersecurity, or MPhil or whatsoever. Now, as part of the program, academic institutions, universities can incorporate some of these professional programs in there. So by the time I'll be through with my program at the university, I may be holding such a certificate as well. And that will prepare me for the industry, not just doing the academia thing, but it also prepare me for the industry. So I think these are some of the things that I would suggest the tertiary institutions take up.
Right. Thank you so much. Doc. Really important point in there that we need to make AI education compulsory in our various institutions, incorporating professional programs in there as well, so that even before these graduates, are out of school, they have these, skills. And indeed, this is going to go a long way to help Africa secure its digital space. So let me come to Prince for Paul. So Doc has mentioned the things we need, as a continent and also as Ghanaians or our various countries and all of that, right? For now that these things are not readily available, maybe in some cases they may be available in some countries, but in most of the countries are not available. In these instances, right, what practical steps can these young professionals pick to enter cybersecurity without a technical degree, right? What practical steps can they take?
Okay, so for this question, I'll use myself as an example, considering the fact that I didn't come from a technical background. So I'm just going to share my experience in terms of what I practically did to help me to get to this level, right? So for someone coming up who is not from a technical background, right? For me, what I did was, like I said, I had to take up courses, right? So one of the courses that I took up was the CompTIA courses. That's their A+. So it basically shows you or teaches you practically about computer hardware, software, how they sort of work together, and how operating systems work, how the CPUs, the RAMs and our hard drives, basically these things, how they sort of, come together to make a computer system. So by understanding these on the foundational level, it helped me to gain some level of practical knowledge that can really solidify my base or my foundation in this field. And mind you, with this field, you need to build your skills on certain foundations, right? I believe that computer systems have run on a base foundation or runs on a base, right? So once you have some practical knowledge or understanding about the foundations on which these systems are built, the rest of it would be more of building up to whatever you know on the base level, right? So I took up these courses to understand generally how computers work, right, and what is made up of, right? Not just to be a user. So I had to come from the user mindset to now a technical person that wants to just try to understand how the computers work, how our digital environment works, right? So pretty much if you are not coming from that field, like a computer science background that will take you through computer architecture, embedded systems, and all these things, I believe that these courses would help you to, or would usher you into some of these foundational knowledge that you would need to help you build a solid career in this field, especially if you want to do technical things in cybersecurity, right? The next thing I would want to talk about is computer networks, right? So there's a base or a foundation in everything that we do. Everything is interconnected in one way or the other, right? So understanding how interconnection of devices works would also help you to understand the broader picture of cybersecurity, because most of the attacks that happens usually is over the network. So if you are going to secure systems, if you are going to respond to incidents, you are going to investigate, going to do forensics in these things, you need to understand how they work on the foundational level. Then you can build that from there. So these are some of the practical things that I did. And there are a lot of courses that you can enroll in. Sometimes starting out would be very, very confusing. You would need somebody to explain some of the technicalities and the terms to you in plain language, right? But I believe that there are resources available that can help us to take advantage of this knowledge that are available, right? And finally, you can, another thing I did was to also take a beginner course in security as well, just to understand the landscape, the cybersecurity landscape, talk about risk management, talking about auditing systems, doing security testing, securing systems, AI, and it is a broad field. So you need just a base knowledge or a strong foundation in this field to help you to be able to gain that practical insight, gain practical skills. And in as much as you take these courses, I personally had to also do hands-on as well. Like I made mention in my last submission, it is all about practice, 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 and that's how you get better at it. You can't just read the things conceptually and think that you understand them. You just have to put them in practice. And in practice is where you practice the things that you've learned by building labs. We have a lot of online platforms that can help you to practice the knowledge that you've gained. We have online simulations that you can use to actually mimic a real environment, simulate attacks, do some level of investigation to it. And these are all ways that you can use to build practical skills if you are starting out into cybersecurity. If you are not coming from a technical background where you will be taking through a bit of coding and a bit of, computer systems and architectures and all that. These are the practical things I did for myself. And it helped me to build a very solid foundation in understanding how things are interconnected, how the computers work, and how our digital environment also works. So these are some of the things that for those coming up, for those who are not coming from technical background per se, can do to increase their chances in this field.
Thank you, Prince. Really salient point there. And of course, foundation is very important, because notice how if you are building a house or a mansion and the foundation is so, it collapses. And so you can start, you get somewhere, you notice that you have a very weak foundation. And as a result of that, it just drops you, just like
Right.
that. So foundation is really important. Let me go to Anna. So Anna, right now, right, we've given you the magic wand. Let's say you are holding the magic wand now. to reshape Africa's cybersecurity training ecosystem for young talent, where would you start? Interesting, huh?
Yes.
Yeah, absolutely.
Having a magic wand, that's that would be a dream. So I thought about it, and I think it's less about reshaping, more about strengthening and expanding what's already happening. And it's what Dr. Paul just mentioned, that students from all backgrounds receive training in cybersecurity, because you could have the world's best IT, network security analysts, you name it, but they will still be a subpart. But let's say a young group of students is working on a startup, maybe in the health sector. But then they suddenly get hacked because they lack the knowledge on cybersecurity. Their whole startup might be in the ground, and they lose money, they lose data, they lose trust. So if I would have the magic wand, I would have everybody learn about cybersecurity, at least the basics, okay? No, but we don't need everybody to be an expert. You can choose in which fields you then want to be an expert in, but similar to using computers, I think digital skills go these days hand in hand with cybersecurity skills, and also especially in areas and regions where we maybe not be working, because of course maybe the youth in Accra, Abuja, or Nairobi will know about cybersecurity, but what about rural areas? What about villages? What about areas that are not yet connected? So I'm just right now working on a project in Lesotho. This is a completely different situation than maybe in Accra. So that's why I'm talking about strengthening and expanding, because we're seeing the right and correct transformations happening at the moment. But if I would have the magic wand, I would go like this and, have it spread across the whole continent.
Wow, that's a very judicious use of the magic wand, Doc, let me come to you, Dr. Paul Ahen. But before I even ask the question, let me acknowledge the fact that Doc is also a senior research associate with the Africa Center for Digital Transformation. So, Doc, on that research note, right, I know you've carried out some research and all, with the point Anna is making, are we ready to strengthen? Because she thinks it's more of strengthening than reshaping. So with the researchers and all, are we ready to strengthen some of these things to help us advance in our, digital transformation, as well as securing our digital space?
Thank you, Samuel. The fact is, we should be ready. From the way things are going, it shouldn't be a matter of trying to consider whether we are, whether we're not. But I think we should put in every single effort to be on track. The truth is, the very people through which attacks are leveled are not IT experts against the companies. Now, most of the companies that are being attacked, the medium by which the attack came from was through people who aren't IT experts. Maybe they saw some signs on the system which they were thinking, this is normal. I mean, these things happen on machines sometimes. They are unusual activities though, but then they felt it was normal. There was nothing wrong. So they become the medium by which attacks are leveled. Of course, if the attack is going to go through the gateway, the main technical room, the server room, they know they have put in place all the security staffs on the servers. So why don't we use a medium which seems so vulnerable that we can get in there? For example, let me give a typical example. In the University of Cape Coast, one thing we have always notified students of is that anytime you visit your portal as a student, anytime you visit your portal using any browser of a choice, make sure you log out before you close even the browser. Now we say those things. Now these may not seem appear to be relevant. It may not appear relevant at all. But the truth is that it can be a medium by which an attacker can attack a company. Now, my point is this: the universities and other tertiary institutions should be ready to embark on deep research into cybersecurity, especially with the invention of AI, deep learning, machine learning. This should even give us the opportunity to research deeper into cybersecurity in Africa. Now, one reason too is that the era we were in those years, the classical computing era, is no more. There are some algorithms, which are security algorithms, which I will call cryptographic algorithms, which existed in the classical era and were appeared as the most secured algorithms existing, unbreakable. We had all this in mind, but now we are now in the quantum computing era. The funny thing is that most of those unbreakable algorithms have been broken already. RSA, ECC, El Gamal, they've already been broken into, but we thought they were the best we can ever think of. So if we don't train ourselves to think in that research line, where we develop ourselves daily and monthly, yearly, we will still be in the classical era, whilst the world remains in the quantum era. And then there will be attacks here and there every day. So I think we should position ourselves, just like Dr. Frimpong just said, if there's a need for top-notch 21st century state-of-the-art simulation and penetration testing labs we need, let's establish them. Because if we should be crying of finances, and for that matter, those expensive labs are not being set up, when the attack should occur, the amount of money we may pay as ransom to take care of ourselves will be much more than what we will need to establish the labs. So we need to establish such research labs. And the funny thing too is that research which is being conducted in the field of computer science is different from research which is being conducted in the field of social science. So we should train more people in the field. Just recently, we had a meeting in the University of Cape Coast, and then we have this computer science and IT students association. And as part of our conversation with the students, we told them, look, it is very important you establish all the clubs you can put up. There is the cybersecurity club, networking club, programming club, and the rest. And I told them, one club we can't run away from should be the research and innovation club. We should be trained on how to research in the field of computer science, precisely cybersecurity, because the world is moving so fast. And so we need to establish that. Look, most of the software which are being developed by people within our continent, most of them are just functional, or let me just say functional programs, or let's say they perform functional programming. So when the program is developed and it is working the way it was intended to, it is enough. Now, what about the security aspect of it? The confidentiality, the integrity of the messages being transmitted on the system, authentication being put in there, whatever. Do we consider much of security as a policy in every single application developed in on our continent? It should be. We have to. Otherwise, we will have systems which are well developed, but then they are so vulnerable to attacks from the outside world. So indeed, the research must be conducted. I think we have the resources. We have I would just say in quotes, we have the men who are capable of conducting top-notch research that can help our continent. And I think by that, we can put ourselves in that era of quantum computing so that we can save ourselves the more. Yeah, thank you, Samuel.
Thank you, Doc. And so far, one thing we've gleaned from this conversation is the fact of urgency. I mean, all the esteemed panelists have indicated how urgent it is for us to act as fast as possible, because digital transformation waits for no one. You can't say that because you have not, repositioned yourself to go with it, it should wait for you. No. So indeed, the urgency is really crying out loud for we as Africans and even the world at large to listen to. At this point, I would want to give opportunity to everyone on here to ask our esteemed panelists the questions they have. And so if you have a question, please ask your question. You can send it through the messaging, or you can raise your hand, we unmute you, and then you ask the question. And so for our esteemed panelists, if the question is asked as well and you want to answer to it, please, you can go ahead and do that. And so please, the floor is open for your questions. And so you can raise your hand or send it via the text or chat box for us to continue advancing this interesting and important conversation. Okay, so in the chat, I am seeing Simple Simon Sena Wemega, or Wemega, that's right. He is asking, how different are the two researches? I think this question, Paul made, Dr. Paul, you mentioned something about the fact that academia research is different from the kind of research you're talking about. So I think he needs clarification on that how different are these two research?
Yeah, okay, thank you so much. In fact, what I meant was that research which is being conducted in the field of social science may be different from research which is being conducted in the field of computer science. Yeah, so not necessarily different as in the name of research. Now, in all these areas, we conduct research. Now, look at, for instance, maybe in the field of social science, I will not be precise with a particular area in the field of social science, but then maybe looking at the environment, what is happening around us. We may collect data and we may just try to find meaning to it. Now, some of these research which are conducted in such areas, after it's been done, it may take some time before there could be the involvement of something extremely new. But then the rate at which things are happening in the field of computing or in the field of technology, almost every day, there's an advancement in technology. Every single day. Every day, there's an advancement in technology. So it is so different to the extent that we do not relax our efforts in a single day. Every other day, there should be research ongoing to bring out what is really happening in the world of technology at a particular moment. Otherwise, as I rightly said, otherwise you will still be in a particular century, you will still be in a particular era, and the whole world had already migrated to a different era by then. So it's not necessarily difference with respect to how things are done. Yes, you may collect data, it may be quantitative, it could be qualitative research and the rest. Now, similar things may be done in here, but then one thing is this: computer scientists are developing algorithms, they're developing, cybersecurity experts are developing cryptographic algorithms with the focus of solving the problem of security. There have always been a security gap for a very long time. And the funny thing is that the very people who are involved in the development of these attacks or systems or software which are attacking systems, they have always been a step ahead of people who are finding solutions to these problems. Maybe we can still use the word, these black hat hackers somehow have always been ahead, a step ahead of white hat hackers or penetration testers. So at the end of the day, you realize that in the field of computer science, things have to evolve so quickly than what may be happening in the other areas because of the nature of technology.
Thank you. Thank you, Dr. Paul, for answering that question. And I believe that the person is satisfied with the explanation. And so keep your questions coming in. You can show by hand, we unmute you, we ask you to unmute, and then you go on to ask your question. Okay, I've seen one in the chat box coming from Rita Abednego, and she says, hello, Prince. Thank you for the opportunity. Please, can you send us links for us to register online courses? Yeah, online courses, you get plenty, but as to the consistency. Oh, my dear, is that not so?
Absolutely.
Consistency is important, right? I would want to hear from
absolutely.
you.
Absolutely.
Right, right. So this person also says, I am Vincent Ba. Hello, please. My name is Vincent. I have a very simple question to ask. How effective are current cybersecurity policies in African countries, and what gaps still exist? How effective are current cybersecurity policies in African countries, and what gaps still exist? And so, please, any of you can go ahead and answer this particular question.
Um,
Sorry, I'm literally putting my hand up. So hi Vincent, Yolanda here. So one of the things that we have, so in South Africa, for example, our law enforcement it's there, but it's still in its infancy stage. And I think that one of the big policy gaps that we have is that our people don't know that they have a go-to for when the cyber crap hits the fan. And unfortunately that comes with awareness. But if people don't know that they've got things that there's action that they can take if something happens, already, and then of course once we do start telling them and teaching them, hello, here's your recourse, here's your action, the next step would be for law enforcement and the legal roles then to know, okay, we have people coming to us for this, what do we do with them? And there already is another gap, a skills gap, because we don't have enough officers that are cyber skilled. We don't have enough officers that can do forensic investigations, that are first responders in cyber, our SOC analysts on the legal side for SA police services are not fully in place as we'd like for it to be. So we are still very much in terms of the public space, very much in our infancy in terms of policies and enforcing those policies, and then obviously supporting those policies. But I think the corporate guys are really on point. I think the guys that are running the corporate side, the policies are there, they're being enforced. The guys are really good in terms of getting their stuff together. The big gaps are with the government side, definitely.
Interesting. The big gaps are with the government side. If we had a government official on this call, I'm pretty sure he or she would also have said it depends on the industry players. Interesting.
I think absolutely.
Keep your questions coming in. Okay, another person here. She says, she is Sandra Bediapo. I would like to ask Ms. Anna Ackerman, seeing as she benefited from mentorship in cybersecurity and attesting to the fact that it helped shape her career, does she have a mentorship program or open to mentoring? And if so, how can I reach out?
Thank you, Sandra, for your question. But I see someone from your side also has their hand up. Maybe they want to answer first. So I mean, Africa Center for Digital Transformation.
Yeah, please, you can go ahead. You can unmute yourself and go ahead.
Yes,
I can see. Yes, please, madam.
Evelyn here. Really following the conversation. I just wanted to add a line to the previous conversation on policy. So my hand was not even up for the mentorship. So if that's, I could just touch a line on it so that we don't also lose this very important question.
Yes,
in the first webinar, we touched a lot on policy. We actually had Colonel George Besse from the CSA in Ghana, who represents the government authority in Ghana, and they shed a lot of light. What we realized on the call was that ever so often we assume, that the government is lagging behind, they are not doing much. And sometimes if you are not in that space, you might think they are not doing much. But on that call, he actually showed us, I think the link is on our YouTube channel. The link to the meeting is on our YouTube channel. So if you can, maybe Emmanuel can also search for it and put there. And two things he said that I wanted to highlight in terms of Ghana was that the Cybersecurity Authority in Ghana is constantly, creating a platform for businesses, young people, everybody to know that, as Yolanda said, you have the right. So if you got scam or something, call a number. I've forgotten. It's just a a 3 number now. It's not popping up in my head, but yeah, if you go, for instance, if you're in Ghana, you got scam, you could call this number and they will work on it for you, right? So the government on this front, and currently when you go to the CSA platform website, they are open to stakeholder consultations, you know, in reforming the current Cybersecurity Act that we have, right? So this, I can just speak for Ghana, and I think for Nigeria, Dr. Ibi, so in the previous webinar also said that the NCCA has begun conversations around, you know, inviting civil society, social innovators, but also young people, because we know Africa is predominantly a young person's continent, right? So these are some of the policy, how do you call it, landscape on the continent, but I must admit it's not so pronounced. So prior to we having that call and Colonel George from the TSA openly sharing these facts, I didn't know it, you know. So yeah, maybe we can also just watch out for what the government is doing, and then maybe how they communicate it, because it's not always in step with how we now currently communicate upcoming developments and all of that. Yeah, so that's all that I wanted to chip in. Maybe landing with the mentorship, then Anna can come in. So we actually have a mentorship program, the Women in Leadership Cybersecurity Mentorship Program, and Yolanda is one of our mentors. So whoever asks this question, reach out to us. Yeah, the mentorship program is currently in full swing, and I'm sure if you're a man, you're wondering, oh, can I also get it? I think you can reach out.
Exactly. I was about asking you, how about the men?
Yeah, this is for women.
Men empowerment.
Yeah, the current mentorship program we have is for women. So please reach out to us. We can try to see if we can match you with a mentor. But if you're a man, a gentleman here, and you're thinking, okay, maybe this is not for me, in future we might do something for men. But for now, I think you have two amazing experts on the call, Dr. Paul and Prince Khan. I think they'll be able to share some light on mentoring. So these are the 2 cents I wanted to add to the conversation. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you so much for your contribution. We sincerely appreciate it. But the men are saying, please, it should be as fast as possible. Right. So, Madam Anna, about the mentorship as well, the question was quite directed to you.
Yes,
in terms of how she could connect.
So I will share my contact in the chat, but yes, I actually just wanted to point towards the mentorship program from
Great.
the ACTT. So thank you, Evelyn, for answering this.
Thank you. Thank you. And let me remind all of us on here that if you go to the chat box, there is a Google Docs form that we would want to encourage you to take a moment to give us your feedback on this particular webinar as we continue to advance the conversation. More and more questions coming in here. And this person is Tasneen Mohammed. He says, I'm interested in working as a cybersecurity consultant for companies, and I'd love some insights from people in the field. Is it worth going out on your own as an independent consultant, or is it better to start within a firm first? I mean, he has about 3 questions. So let's deal with this, then I'll read out the other set of questions. So he's asking, is it worth going out on your own as an independent consultant, or is it better to start within a firm first? Yeah, my dear panelists, you can.
Maybe I can go ahead because so my path forward was always working at least part-time with an institution to learn on the job in that sense. But then what I did was, for me, it became very clear that I wanted to work on cybersecurity, but specifically the harms and dangers that women are facing. So this was mostly, for example, deepfake attacks, online harassment. I know this is not classical cybersecurity, but for me, that was my path. And then I focused on learning the necessary skills. I try to understand what are the gaps. I think that's what I would like to really stress here. You need to understand what are the gaps right now that you can fill. Because remember, maybe a couple of years ago, everybody tried to become a coder and everybody learned the exact same coding languages, but now AI is taking over coding. So now the people that thought they made the perfect career choice 5 years ago are the people that fear for their jobs. But it's because they did what everybody was doing. So take a moment, think about it, and also really think about the problems you want to solve. So don't think what's the current hype. No, think about what is really the problem that I would like to solve in cybersecurity. What would I like to spend my time on doing? And then find your niche and focus on that.
Great. Great. I think your answer has actually answered his second question. That was what kind of qualifications or the certificates are most valuable and how important is networking and all. I think you've answered that because you say that you need to look at the gap in the industry and then you tailor your approach towards that. But his third question, however, is that since cybersecurity is constantly evolving, how often do you find yourself needing to update or expand your skill set to continue to stay relevant? Let's do it, any of you, please. How often do you find yourself as experts needing to update or expand your skill set to continue to stay relevant? As we say, that digital age is transforming rapidly.
Okay, so let me go first. So I think what Dr. Paul said, that there's ever increasing and ever evolving field, and technology is changing all the time. New inventions, new innovations are coming up almost every single time, and to be able to stay relevant or catch up with all of these technologies, you would have to continually improve or continually just learn the new technologies that are coming up. So how often is just every day, right? I can't say maybe 2 years, 3 years, because each and every day we sleep, we wake up, and then there's something new, all right? So this is a field that is ever evolving. And one particular thing I like about the fact about this field is that it would always put you on the edge to learn something new, because the moment you stop learning, you are out of business, right? So you would have to learn new technologies, practically get your hands dirty with them, understand how they work, how you can make your workflows or your processes easier, how you can solve problems. That's the essence of this field and technology at large. So here you can't stop learning. The moment you stop learning, like I said, you become obsolete. Nobody will want to work with you, or we don't even want to use technologies that was used back in the 90s, right? So once technology is changing, you have to change along with it. If not, you just left behind. So how often is constant? It's every day. I'll put it that way.
Wow, that is a pretty interesting comment in there. And so it is clear that we cannot use solutions of 19 Kojohoho to fix, problems of today. So
Absolutely.
it's important to indeed stay relevant. More questions coming in, and this person has brought a contribution as well as a question. So let me go on to his contribution. He says, "My name is Edward Insubi. I believe we should emphasize extending this education to our children from an early age, since the world is interconnected. Our 12-year-olds at home, they are at home with Wi-Fi access, which creates vulnerabilities. Research shows that by age 12, a lot of children have internet-connected devices, and cyber crimes targeting minors have increased significantly. I believe cybersecurity education should begin in early childhood." Now, his question: how can we, as educators and parents, integrate age-appropriate cybersecurity lessons into early learning? How can we, as educators, parents, industry players, integrate age-appropriate cybersecurity lessons into early learning so that even before the child grows, they are aware of some basic things in the cybersecurity space.
Hi, Samuel. Can I take that?
Great. Yes, you can. Thank you.
Okay, so I think one of the important things that we realize, and I think that is a beautiful question. Thank you so much for asking. And as early as people put a device in front of their children, that is when your cyber security education has to begin. It is no longer good for you to say, here's Peppa Pig, go and watch this. You actually need to sit down with your children and have the conversation. And as much as the question leans towards educators and schools, it should actually be a conversation that we have at home, which we're not doing. Parents are just not doing that anymore. We find that our devices are minding our children, and we're no longer doing that. And I get that parents are busy, they come back from work, we no longer have grandma and grandpa looking after our kids as we used to back in the day. But now we've got devices looking after our kids. So if we don't sit down and have those conversations from the word go, the way we used to talk to our children about stranger danger, the way we used to talk to our children about their body parts, that is exactly the same conversation that parents need to have with our children about their devices. It is not okay for you to be speaking to people you don't know. It is not okay for you to be showing people you don't know what you look like. It has to start at home. It has to start with parents. And absolutely then, yes, educators, because at certain schools, and I find this is one of my daily struggles, at certain schools, we can't speak to the primary school kids. This is our early development centers because our children at that age don't know things that we want to be speaking about. But they're the ones sharing their information. They're the ones that are getting breached and sharing their parents' banking details and sharing pictures and their addresses and all sorts of things. But we're not allowed to speak to them. And then again, at a high school level, we can speak to them again. So we need to have that conversation. The minute you have a child with a device, you need to have that conversation. And as Paul said when you started, the minute children start learning anything, any language, any math, anything at primary school level, the minute they go into school, yes, we need to have that conversation about online safety versus in real life safety versus AI safety. It has to start absolutely very early. And then we will know that our children are safer. It's not good enough for us to wait until they're 12. It has to start the minute you put that child in front of a device.
Indeed. Right. Doc, do you want to add something?
Just to add a little to what she said,
Yes.
I think that is right, right on the part. But as we do this, we should also be careful with the curriculum we develop for that particular course or the subject. Very important and very critical. Okay. In fact, I don't know whether that's a true story or not, but a story is always told about this young guy whose dad was a computer scientist. At the age of 8, 9, the dad already taught the guy some of the basics of computer science.
Mm-hmm.
Now, by 11, 12, he was almost an advanced learner in security. So that was the expertise of the father. So this guy once picked his device and was just trying to do some manipulations here and there. I mean, the things he's been taught. Of course, let me just say he was somehow a script kiddie. So he's gotten access to most of the cybersecurity tools which he could use to do a lot of things. There was this particular institution which had a very strong security when it comes to the way they have laid their networks. This young guy picked up his device one day when he was manipulating his device, doing that blah blah. Lo and behold, he had already developed a spyware, and he's already developed a system which could break into computers. So let me give it a try. Let me just try this institution with my system. Then he tried, and lo and behold, he got in there. He could get in there easily. Now, there was this debate of this institution, their systems were shut down for almost a whole day. The guy did not commit any crime. All he told them was that, oh, I'm sorry, I'm a young guy. I'm not here to cause any crime. I'm not here to cause any malicious act. I wouldn't even do that. But please, I'm a learner and I've tried certain things and it has worked. All I'm doing is that I'm shutting down your systems for just about an hour or two or more. After that period, I will leave the systems to you, and then you can continue working on your systems. Now, if you're supposed to be maybe the boss of such an institution, what do you do? I mean, it's either you search for him to employ him, or something else. Now, it's because of the nature of training he had from his dad, strictly in that particular line. So he had to develop himself in that line as well. So it is very important that we train our these little ones coming up in the various basic institutions on this cybersecurity issue. That we are looking at the curriculum which we need to develop. And then two, unfortunately, you know, in Ghana, I don't know much about the other countries in Africa, but I believe it to be very similar in there. In Ghana, almost all senior high schools are now pursuing ICT both as a core and as elective. So we have people doing elective ICT, and for the core, almost everyone does it currently. But unfortunately, one of the gaps that exists in there is that the country somehow lacks professionals teaching at that level. Most of the people who are teaching that level may be maybe the English teacher who has opted to also teach ICT, the math teacher who has also sacrificed to also teach ICT. Why? Because most of the top-notch professionals are either working in the industry or may be found in the tertiary institutions. So the very ones at the very basic level, which we are saying is also very critical and very important, unfortunately, are not teachers who may be who may be highly professionals to get them started or to start them on the right level. And so the growth may be there, development may be there, but then the very things we need them to get or grasp whilst they grow may not be there. So I think that is also a gap which exists in there. The curriculum being developed, and then the teachers who are also involved in having to give out that such knowledge. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Doc, for adding up to that salient question and subsequent answer as well. Let me remind all of us that Africa Center for Digital Transformation, Ghana, has indicated the recordings for the previous webinar on digital safety for Africa has been made available in the chat box. And so you can go on there, tap on the link, and it will take you straight there. You can also reach out to ACDT on our social media platforms on linktr.ee. The link is also there. You can go on there and then click on it. Quickly, there is another question here. He says, he's Simple Simon Sena Womega. Okay, he has a question, but I think this is a follow-up question. He says, I wish to ask how different they will start their IT or computer science or cyber journey if they were to start all over again with their current knowledge for a smooth pathway for starters. So my dear panelists, the question is, if we were to start all over again, right, what will you do? I mean, how different will it be? I'm sure he wants to pick inspiration from that. The silence makes it feel like science and maths, quiz. I'm really enjoying the conversation. Thank you so much, our dear panelists.
I'll start, Samuel, and take you out of the hot water. I think so. I started my IT career as desktop support, and I think a lot of people that are in IT started at desktop support, help desk support, and then I went into user access management, and then only cyber. And if I think about it, I don't think that I would change that, because it gave me a very good insight as to how the end user interacts with technology, and that makes it key now for me when I do my cyber awareness sessions with people. Because I know how people are responding to their devices, I know how they want things to see and how it to work. I don't think I would change that. The only thing that I do wish is that I would have started my cyber journey a little bit sooner. So I started my journey in 2018. I think I would have liked it to start earlier, and it only, you know, how life happens and it pushes you into certain directions. So I wish that mine had pushed me into cyber a bit earlier, but I definitely don't think I would change anything. I think everybody needs to, well, not everybody. If you start with legal as your background, or you start with finance as your background, getting into cyber is quite easy if that is where your passion lies. If you want to delve into that way. And your rover pushes you that way, then absolutely go that way. Everybody's journey is different, and their talents and their skill sets are different, and you need to take what is your strength, and mature that into cyber as it will be, for you to be the best version of your cyber self. Yeah.
Thank you, Yolanda, for answering that question. And this person, Vincent Barr, goes on to say that, so in that case, why do many cybersecurity graduates remain unemployed, most especially here in Africa or in Ghana, while companies still complain of a skills shortage? Why is there a disconnect?
I think Anna answered that one earlier. So it was pretty much that's where things were in fashion at the time. We all went developing, and then there was a whole lot of Python developers. And then when desktop support was a thing, everybody did desktop support. You need to find the disconnect is that right now there's a needs, and you need to sort of do a needs-based assessment. Where is the need, and go towards that. What are the industries needing at the moment, and go towards that. I think at this particular point there might be a big because there's so many incidents happening, there might be a big surge for incident responders. There might be a big surge for forensics investigations, because there's just so many incidents happening at the time. Yeah, so you need to do a needs-based assessment, see what is needed, where you are in which region of Africa, because even Africa as a whole, our needs are very different. I, for example, like the way Ghana's going, and I'm thinking that I need to be there, but I'm in South Africa, so I need to focus on what the needs are here. Yeah.
Thank you, Yolanda, on that again. Now, we'll be wrapping up with the questions and answers soon. And unfortunately, we'll be bringing this interesting conversation to an end very shortly, at least not now, but very shortly, right? So this person says, or you've answered his question all right, but he says, or should we also say or conclude that African governments should subsidize cybersecurity certifications to build talent faster? If you're answering that, then maybe another side of your answer should also be one that churn out lots of people just with certificates without a practical experience.
Yes, maybe I would like to comment on this one.
Yes, sir.
Right. I think what the government can do is to try and bring more people into the field by creating an avenue for them to learn and then gain practical skills, right? And with the aspect of the certifications, well, this industry thrives also on certifications, but the mere fact you have a certification does not also certify that you can actually do the work, right? So it's just a mix of you having the practical skills and the experience, as well as being able to back that with certifications. Many of the people that I've come across would definitely want to just get the certifications because they've been one way or the other told that, oh, hey, look, if you have the certifications, you can be able to get a job, right? And along the line or during the process of getting the certification, they get up disappointed because they are unable to land a job. And this is a very critical field because you'll be dealing with a lot of sensitive information and securing digital systems and critical infrastructures. So they would want people who have some sort of hands-on experience, though there are rooms for people to just get in there at entry level, But even with that one, they expect that you may have had some sort of first-hand experience with the tools and the technologies that we use within our environment. So if you have merely a certification without so much of experience, it's in a way sort of, I mean, questions the certifications that you have, right? So I think that there should be a balance. Let me put it that way. There should be a balance between experience and the certifications that we are looking at. Once there's a balance, I believe that people would, I mean, take the chance on you and then be able to give the opportunity that you deserve to build on your skills. So with the issue of certification, I think we should just have a balance of experience and then the certification. If you want to get experience, like I said, there are so many avenues or platforms that can help you to be able to build practical simulations and practical labs that can help you to gather experience as well. So that's my 2 cents on that.
Thank you so much, Prince from Paul, who has indicated that we need to have a balanced approach to the certification aspect. And I've seen that Madam Anna has placed in the chat box what she will do if she's to start all over again. And she says, if I would start my journey again, I would start, quote, get to action much sooner, working on small projects, reaching out to people, and visiting events as well. She says, I thought I had to know everything, right, before I can add value, and stayed passive for many months. That's so wrong, because you can never know everything. So better start right away. And so our dear dear esteemed members of this conversation, there you have it. You have to start right away. In fact, right after the webinar, you need to start connecting with individuals to get started, just like I would do. And as I earlier indicated, now I'm shifting from wanting to be a hacker, as I've always wanted to be, to go into other things. So yes. So in the chat box again, I'm still going through the chat box. We've seen that looking forward to connect, reach out through the LinkedIn. Madam Anna has provided her LinkedIn links, and so you can go in there and check it out. We also have Cybersecurity Authority Ghana Incident Report contact, and so if you are in Ghana and you experience any cybersecurity threats, you can just send a report to the Cybersecurity Authority through email on report@csa.gov.gh. You can also call 292. Yes, there's no 911. This is 292. So take note. And SMS 292, and then on WhatsApp 050-160-311. The information is in the chat box as well. And so, dear members of this conversation, thank you so much for your questions. Your questions have really added to the conversation, and it's been really engaging, educative, and everything, every adjective you would want to give it. And so at this point, before we wrap up the entire conversation, we have a team from the Africa Center for Digital Transformation wanting to do a very short presentation for us. And to help us with that presentation, we have Madam Evelyn Kwating, who is the Director of Programs at ACDT. Madam, the floor is yours.
Hello, everyone. I'm trying to turn my camera on. Wow, what a conversation. I have really enjoyed every one of them, and it's nice to just listen in to these really insightful, practical conversations. Yeah, okay, so I will just try to share my screen, and in the next 5 minutes, I should do a quick run through so that you don't leave here, okay, what is ACDT, what are we doing, and all of that, so that you can leave here with something. So good to see you, Dr. Paul. It's been such a long time. Yeah, fun fact, Dr. Paul is one of the busiest people I know, so to have him here is a blessing. Good to see you, Anna, again, after a quick break. Good to see you, Yolanda. Good to see you, Prince. Also, another name for Prince, he's called Cyber Chef. I think it hasn't come up. So for those of us on Twitter, please find his handle. I think he hasn't mentioned that yet. So if you're on Twitter,
really? Cyber Chef. He cooks.
Yes, he's called I am Cyber Chef on Twitter. Apparently, using the very Gen Z term, he's been cooking a lot of cybersecurity tips on Twitter. So please find him, and then yeah, he would be sharing. Like you can also learn a lot from him. Yeah. Okay, so this is the Africa Center for Digital Transformation, and it's an honor to have all of you on this platform here with this webinar. Okay, so quickly, why this webinar and why are we doing this? So if you didn't know, the month of October, it actually denotes many things, but as to ACDT, it's a global cybersecurity awareness campaigns or awareness programs that we have. And if you're in Ghana, you'd realize that the CSA has been, like every year, has been trying to create this awareness and all of that. And from this conversation, you would realize that it's very, very important, right, to get to know what cybersecurity is. And even if you are not even thinking of breaking into cybersecurity as a career, I think Anna shared, Yolanda also shared that it's good to know some things for yourself, right? Passwords and all of that. So that is what the ACDT did or is doing. So we had our kickoff, and we had, like, this is the second of the 2 webinars that we planned. The first one was more on how NGOs and social innovators can protect themselves. Oftentimes they are doing like very important things, especially on the continent, or what we would call solving wicked problems, right? And once you are focused on solving wicked problems, you might not think, okay, how do I protect myself? So that one was more focused on that. And with this one, as we have seen, was more focused on how do I get the skills, the certification, and then really the mindset to go into it. And one of the refreshing things was, I like the fact that not all of our panelists started from a computer science background. Some of them were non-technical. So if you are here, regardless of your background, please, and you are thinking of breaking into tech or cybersecurity, you can, you know, we hope that these stories inspire you. Also, my colleague Emmanuel has shared the links in the platform. So follow us on our LinkedIn, Facebook. Now we are even on TikTok, Instagram. So whichever platform you are comfortable with, just follow us. And if you followed us, you realize that we've been sharing practical tips, insightful stories, and all of that. Okay, so now I will just go straight into what we are. So we are a Pan-African led organization, and we are Pan-African led organization led by Africans, where we believe that research and innovation, you know, leads to what we call sustainable development and inclusive prosperity. So for us, it's important that we create a platform like this one, like many of the events that we do, to empower young people. And here, young people, we are more focused on the African continent. And we do this through our policy advocacies, capacity building trainings, and then research and innovation. Our focus areas, as I've mentioned, are policy advocacy, digital skills training, and whatnot. Okay, so since I think this is just this year, we have had quite a number of skills training programs. And yeah, this is just a few of them, just to give you an idea, some of the trainings that we do. Most of our trainings are either geared towards women, like we had with the UNDP and Anna in the call, or geared towards young people, like we had with GIZ. This was Tamale, I think, in northern Ghana, or also with the very high level public sector security architecture, here with the UN OCT, as you would see here. So these are some of the trainings that we do. And if you are thinking of, okay, how do I get into one of these trainings? Connect with us on our socials, because we are always posting these opportunities. Also, we have our flagship fellowships. This happened earlier this year. It's already done, and this is going to happen at the latter part of the year. We had a call for application, and then the finalists will be announced very soon. So if maybe you're on the call, you already applied for the Policy Action Lab, just stay tuned to that. Okay, we've also had the privilege of being knowledge partners to several events across the continent. This was in South Africa, this was in Cairo, and this was in Accra. So every now and then when events are coming up, you would most likely find us. Beyond also being knowledge partners, we've also been in quite a number of events. This is just to give you an idea that mostly knowledge transfer is one of the important things, right? It's one thing to know something, is another to also create this platform where we share this knowledge, we empower people. And on advocacies, we are quite loud, I would say, or quite pronounced on a number of advocacies across different topics. So this one was on cybersecurity, this one was on cyber attacks, this one was on research, and this one was also on data financial inclusion. Okay, now I'm going to skip a little bit. Okay, these are some of the awards, and I want to touch on it that earlier this year, Dr. Paul won an award, so we can give him a digital claps. And this was all the way in Japan. He really put Ghana on the map. And this is Dr. Frank also won an award. Both of them are ACDT are senior research associate. This one was in the US, this one was in Japan. And just in South Africa, we're also honored at the CySec event. Great. Yes, so quite a number of things that we are doing, and we invite all of us to either partner with us to, connect with us and let us increase this impact. Yeah. Okay, so these are a few partners that we've had between last year and this year. So if you have any cool projects you would like to implement, you can always reach us. Okay. So my colleague has put a link, the feedback link to the group, but you can also feel free to scan this. We want to hear from you. Was the webinar insightful? Tell us what you thought. Are there other topics that you would want us to treat in the next webinar, or if we decide to have another webinar? Yeah, okay. So yes, upcoming is in November, we have the high level FDC, Future of Digital Countries, Africa. It's happening for the first time in Ghana. It's going to be at the Kempinski Hotel. And then, yeah, we invite all of you to watch out for this event. Okay, so thank you very much. I hope I didn't take a lot of your time. So yes, the first number is also on WhatsApp. If you have any questions, any clarification, you can text that number on WhatsApp. You can also send us an email at info@acdtglobal.org, or check our website and then see upcoming events, programs, or projects. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much to Madam Evelyn Kwati, and she is Director of Programs for ACDT. I think ACDT deserves a round of applause again. Digital round of applause. Let's go. Great, 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 great. I'm seeing lots of you do that. Really interesting. You see the power of technology. We are not in person, but we've still been able to have meaningful conversations that will indeed go a long way to drive change in the society. So we are wrapping up the conversation, but before I let my panelists go, finally, in few seconds, like 30 or 1 minute, what is the way forward? Action plan, your conclusion. So let's start from, they say ladies first, right? So Madam Anna, come on. Yeah. Few words in conclusion.
So, okay, it's difficult to conclude everything that has been said here because a lot of important aspects have been touched on. I think what we can all agree on is that action should have happened yesterday. So the time is now, and don't be afraid to upskill, to reinvent yourself, to try out new paths, and to open conversations with the people in your network, because if everybody does that, then we'll change the cybersecurity landscape of Africa as soon as possible. And thank you so much for organizing this amazing event, and it's great to see so many of you here.
Thank you so much, Madam Anna Akoban, for your concluding remarks. And indeed, the agency is really clear that we need to take action as soon as possible. Quickly, let me dash on the gender scale. Let me go to a male. Dr. Paul Ahen, your concluding remarks for us.
Yeah, thank you so much. Well, I'm very happy for this particular seminar, and I thank ACDT too for the development with respect to digitalization in Africa. We are hoping for much more better outcome. My last words, or just a statement, is to say this: those of us who are coming up in the field, maybe we've now graduated from the university. Just as one said, maybe we've not yet gotten into any work, or we've not yet been employed or anything. In fact, for whatever our level is, being starters, the fact is that start with strong fundamentals. Start with strong fundamentals and maintain that mindset of continuous learning. The secret is that. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Dr. Paul Ahen. And on your concluding remarks, let me state here that someone says, Dr. Paul was my lecturer, MSc IT UCC. Kindly congratulate him for me. And so, Doc, congratulations once again on your numerous awards. Yes, so let me go to Madam Yolanda for your concluding remarks. Can you please unmute yourself? You are currently muted.
And I said such a lot of good things now.
Great.
Thank you. Thank you, Samuel. Thank you, ACDT, for having the session. We can never be finished with having our cyber conversations. What I want to say to the young aspiring people on the call is use what you have. Use the skills that you have and hone in on where you can fit in, not just in any corporate, but in your communities, in your areas where you live, in the suburbs where you live, in the rural areas where you live. You know what the cyber needs are better than anybody else out there. So use what you have. As Africans, we are very resourceful people, so we need to use the resources within ourselves, tap into that, and then grow from there, because that is how you do skills gap analysis. You see what the gap is in your community and you fill it. Thank you.
You see the gap and you fill it. Thank you so much, Madam Yolanda. And let me now go to Mr. Prince Carl Tufor Frimpong, your concluding remarks for us. Right. Mr. Paul Tufor Frimpong.
Yeah, sorry, I was on
Yes,
mute.
no problem.
Yeah, so thank you
Yeah.
very much to all of you for staying with us till this time. And final words for me would be that we just have to be passionate about it. We just have to show that we want it as much, or we want it more than anyone else. And that's what would keep you positive. That's what will keep the drive. That's what will keep you, committed to whatever you want to do. Right. So this is a field that is interesting. It has a lot of room for growth. And because I can say for myself that when I got into this field, the growth has been exponential. Has been massive, and has been something that has really affected me in a positive way. So I would just want to treat each and every one that don't give up. There's a field that can make your dreams come alive. So that's my final words for today.
Thank you. Don't give up. Don't give up. Don't give up. Indeed, ladies and gentlemen on here, this is where we'll draw the curtains on this conversation. Remember that the esteemed panelists who joined the conversation, we have Madam Anna Ackerman, who is digital skills consultant in Germany. And we also had Dr. Paul K. Ahen Jr., who is a lecturer, Department of Computer Science and Information Technology, University of Cape Coast, Ghana. And we also had Madam Yolanda Cornelius, who is a security awareness consultant in South Africa. And we also had Mr. Prince Carl Tufor Frimpong, who is a cybersecurity analyst in Ghana. And so, dear panelists, thank you so much for your insightful comments and contributions, conversations, and all. And I know that your comments and submissions have blessed the people on here who are in turn going to put into action all what has been discussed to ensure that indeed we secure the Africa's digital space. And so, ladies and gentlemen, with the permission from ACDT as a moderator, this is where we draw the curtains on today's event. And I have been your moderator. I am Samuel Akom, broadcast journalist with CTFM and Channel 1 TV. And I hope we do this again soon. So thank you so much and enjoy the rest of your week. Bye-bye.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Thank you.